So tell me a little bit about the copper nickel in Minnesota.
Minnesota has #1 and #2 deposit of copper and nickel in the world, and that is here in the Duluth complex. That's what this dark green is called, the Duluth complex, where the mineral deposits are located. What happened in 2016, President Obama withdrew all federal lands from future mining in northern Minnesota, and it was by executive order, 234,000 acres. And right now, as per the executive order, there is a 2-year study period to determine if the ban of mining in this red area should be for the next 20 years. In this red area, we have all these blue dots. These are school trust lands. 95,000 acres of school trust lands are in this withdrawal area. Also, the withdrawal area includes state and county lands for almost another 200,000 acres. You can see how many more school trust lands are here. People don't understand, when our state was established in, 1800 something, every township, 2 sections, the 16th and the 36th section, were dedicated to school trust funds. And money, anything generated on or done on those lands would generate money for the school trust lands that would go to all schools in Minnesota. Southern Minnesota auctioned off a majority of their school trust lands. We have a majority of our school trust lands still in northern Minnesota. Another big problem with our school trust lands is this green area here, dark green. That's the boundary waters. In 1964, when the Boundary Waters Wilderness, or the Wilderness Act was established, it prevented access to these school trust lands. So since 1964, these school trust lands have not been able to generate any money for our schools. The '64 Wilderness Act explicitly states any state lands surrounded by wilderness as a result of that act shall be exchanged for federal lands outside of the boundary waters for equal value. That has not been done. In 2010, Governor Dayton came up with a working group that put together a hybrid plan of taking private land, exchanging it for school trust lands. The federal government would then pay that private private landowner for that land. That's not what the law says. It says exchange for federal lands outside of the boundary waters. That's the #1 thing. But for 54 years, these school trust lands have not been able to generate any money at all for our school trusts. The main contributor to that school trust fund is from mining, logging, leasing of land for various uses. But when it's locked up in the boundary waters, you can't do any of that. What Obama did in 2016 was the same thing. It locked up 95,000 acres of school trust lands from being able to generate for our schools.
So this provision hurts schools in Minnesota.
Exactly, all schools.
And we have the largest deposits of 2 different minerals right in this strip of land, and we can't make any money for our children. The children are our future.
Right.
But this hurts the future of our children and prevents people from getting good paying jobs at the same time.
Exactly.
In addition, these mines that are currently operating today are not polluting the boundary waters water. So is there any logical reason why a new high-tech cleaner mine than the current ones we have would create pollution when the ones we currently have do not create pollution for the boundary waters?
Well, #1, we have been mining in northern Minnesota for 130 years. Mainly with iron ore mines and now taconite mines. Copper nickel is the next generation of mining for northern Minnesota. The biggest argument is that these are a different type of mining. The groups will tell you that this is sulfide ore mining. All mining rock contains sulfide. Even taconite mining has sulfide. Over in the Babbitt area, there was a pit called the Dunka Pit that LTV, a mine back in their operating days, they closed in 2001, had a higher sulfide pit being dug. They stopped doing that, and Dunka Pit has been monitored since 1977 because of the higher sulfide content, without any impact to Birch Lake, which feeds into the boundary waters. There has been no impact to the boundary waters from that higher sulfide ore pit. So when these groups say, well, it's never been done before, yes, it has. North Shore Mining at Babbitt also has had a higher concentrate of sulfide in their mining areas. In the late 1980s, in 1989, 1990, when North Shore took over the running of the previously owned reserve mining property, that pit had flooded. Millions of gallons of water had to be pumped out of that pit when North Shore started operation again. When they got to the bottom of that pit, it was full of brook trout. Now, brook trout are very sensitive to pollutants in water. These brook trout were taken out in barrels and barrels of brook trout and transferred to another lake. They're similar to a canary. When you take a canary down into a coal mine, if that canary dies, it means you better get out of that coal mine because the air is no good. Now, when a brook trout can survive in a sulfide ore pit, it's not that polluted. So their argument is pretty mute. They also say it's never been done before, but we had copper mining done in Flambeau, Wisconsin. We are presently mining copper in Eagle mine up in Upper Michigan, very close to Lake Erie. We have precious metals mine of higher sulfide ores being done in Stillwater, Montana, just miles from Yellowstone National Park, without any impact. There are many others that are similarly being mined today, but these environmental groups will not acknowledge that they are being mined without any impact to the environment.
So the environmentalists are hurting our schools for no good reason.
Exactly. They're preventing good-paying jobs that would support our communities and would generate money for our school trust funds that would benefit the entire state of Minnesota with our schools.
Why would you want to hug a tree and hurt a child?
It's a good question. I mean, we all love our trees, but we see when they get too big, they topple over and they're dead and they're dying. I live on Fall Lake. It's half in the boundary waters. We've had the 1999 blowdown that did a swath that was 3 miles wide from Orr, Minnesota, all the way up to the Gunflint.
Isn't that a fire hazard?
Yes, it sure is now. And then in 2016, we had another blowdown that even made it even worse. And just last week, Tuesday, we had another severe storm that came through that knocked down a whole bunch more trees.
Well, you need to leave them where they're at so they burn out naturally. If loggers make money and I don't make money, I'm opposed to other people making money if it's not me.
That's the whole gist. It's pretty much the gist of it. The thing of it is, when the steel industry declined in the early 1980s, we did have an exodus of about 2,000 people that left the Iron Range. They left for other areas where they could find jobs to provide for their families.
What's your position on Trump's steel tariffs and aluminum tariffs?
Well, we have to stop that dumping of foreign steel that has taken away jobs from United States steel workers, and also the other, aluminum and such.
So you want to make American jobs great again?
Hey, I want all of our communities to benefit from good-paying jobs. Like I said, we live in Ely, Minnesota. We have always had tourism. We've got the 3 T's: taconite, timber, and tourism.
Why did you make Bob Dylan leave?
Well, Bob Dylan was a little different. He was ahead of his time, is what he was.
So you support the president's tariffs on steel, and it's going to bring back jobs and help Minnesota children get a better education.
Exactly.
Do you think the students in Minnesota should be educated where their school money comes from?
that would be a very good thing.
Well, we appreciate your time. Is there a website that somebody could go to find out more about this important issue for our children? And our children are the future.
If you visit cwcs.org, this is our latest newsletter. We talk about the various issues of the boundary waters. We have a big deal with the permit issues right now that is affecting a lot of resorts and outfitters. We don't know how the permit system for the boundary waters is going to be implemented in the future. It talks about our school trust lands. But in here, on this page, if you can zoom in on this website here, that is a resource page that tells you a lot about, right here.
Okay. Yep,
tells you a lot about the various issues, about the school trust lands, the mining issue, the permit issues, everything that affects the boundary waters area and northern Minnesota. There's a lot of information, a lot of background information about the school trust lands, and we would appreciate your support. We are a nonprofit organization. Believe it or not, I do this and am unpaid. I am an unpaid volunteer. I am not of the status of some of these other anti-mining groups, the Sierra Club, the Friends of the Boundary Waters, the Save the Boundary Waters campaign, which gets money and funding and thousands of dollars as wages. Our main funding is from membership, and every year we have a raffle. This year we are doing just a motor because we had to buy the boat, motor, and trailer package, and we weren't making enough of a profit. So now we're just doing a nice 25-horse motor, E-Tech with electric tilt and electric start. And we will be at the Blueberry Arts Festival in Ely the last weekend of July and the second weekend in September at the Harvest Moon Festival. And we sell our raffle tickets, and in September is when we do our drawing. But this is our main fundraiser, and we would appreciate your support. People can visit our website. They can see on our newsletter. There's a form you can order. You can order raffle tickets. Send us your address labels. We'll fill in your telephone number. Send us the check, and we will make sure that your ticket is in the drawing for this nice motor. And we have a nice stay at a 2-night stay at Big Lake Wilderness Lodge, donated by an area business owner, John Swenson. And then we have this beautiful Boundary Waters camp print as our third prize.
I want to thank you for making Minnesota schools great again and for making Minnesota great again. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
I thank you for coming to our table and inquiring about our information. Thank you.